Good evening and welcome to the FITT Show, financial information for today and tomorrow. I'm Bobby Kinzer.
And I'm Thomas Doty.
And we here each and every Thursday at 8 p.m. coming to you with information for people to understand about personal money management, hoping that you will build wealth and create assets that are accumulating and you increase your net worth. And we're hoping that we close the actual wealth gap that exists between so many different races. So last week we talked about tough money conversations to have with your family and got a lot of great responses from that, though. It was really, really, really great stuff. So just wanted to let you know, if you missed any of our episodes, you can go out on Facebook Live, go on the videos, and they are archived. This is our show 21. And we have them all archived out there and on YouTube. And we'd like for you to also, if you're coming through watching us through YouTube, please go out there and subscribe please go out there and subscribe under YouTube to our show, The FITT Show, capital letters FITT. And we would appreciate if you click on the like button with the thumbs up and the heart, because it gives us expansion into more people and reach through Facebook. And we're looking forward to you all putting in comments, or if you have suggestions or topics, or you have an opinion about something we talked about. We like to make this definitely an interchange between individuals. So, today's topic is staying on top of the market.
Yeah, we're going to talk about how to stay on top of the market today. And there are a lot of people who really don't stay abreast of what's going on. And they just may feel overwhelmed about how to go at it or how to go about it. And there's so much information out there that it can be overwhelming. Then there are some people who don't know that they should be staying abreast of the information and not putting the time in because they may not have the time. Because it does take some time to keep up with what's going on. You have to stay on top of your investments. The results of not staying on top of your investments can be devastating. Most times they're just small adjustments that you might make to your portfolio, or you might look down the road and see something coming or see a trend. And if you stay on top of things, that small adjustment could save you from a big loss, or it could also create a large gain for you. You got to take responsibility for your investments if you want to build wealth.
Well, though, in today's world, staying on top of the market news can be difficult. With a constant flow of information, it's hard to keep up with it all. It's even harder if you have a family or business to look after, since you not only have to know what's happening around you, but you also what's going on with the market. It can be a demanding task to stay on top of the market news. There are many ways to access stock market news with technology, and it's expanding every day. Technology is definitely a great advantage when it comes to following the market news and being on top of all the information. We use our smartphones, tablets, laptops, and desktops to find out what's happening, and it's how 86% of Americans get their news. Gone are the days when all of your news came in one place, the newspaper or the TV. It's important to carve out some time to stay on top of the market. We are going to discuss today some ways to which you can always stay updated on what's happening on the market. So that's really our focus, you all, because you don't have to be no specialist. You don't have to have a degree in finance, like we always say. But there's tools and things out there that you can stay abreast of the market. Number one, we're going to introduce a lot of different resources, but just remember this: you must look at information that you can trust. For financial information, the investment related information, you want to be more discerning about which sites you trust, so that you can make sound decisions with your money. You must look at sites and sites that you follow, but make sure they're non-biased because some of them could be very slanted. And you want to look at sites or resources that are not just trying to sell you a product. And that's easy to find out because if they're constantly pushing a particular product, you can tell very easily from the onslaught that they're more interested in trying to sell you a product than they're actually trying to give you news and information that can help you with your personal finances. So make sure the first thing is when you start looking at some of the sites, make sure it's a trustworthy site and it's vetted and you do some research behind it.
Okay, let's talk about some of the resources we can look at. First one, I'll start with financial newsletters. There's the Motley Fool, there's Kiplinger. There's several that you can subscribe to, and there's several that are free. And for example, I pay, I think it's a couple $100 a year to get information from the Motley Fool, just because I think it's worthwhile. It's worth $200 to me. And they provide me real good information. They'll send me a newsletter in the morning and let me know what's going on pre-market. Kiplinger, I get emails just about every day about different topics. And a lot of it is just educational. But find a newsletter that you trust, whether you pay or don't pay, and keep up reading it.
And just want to make a special note, though. Some of them are free and some of them there's a fee that you have to pay. And just remember this, you get what you pay for, but you don't always have to pay. And that's what we're trying to give you, a combination of both. So please consider that. So, another resource is television shows. Now, some people have issues with people like Susie Orman, because Susie Orman, she always is telling people, to pay off your house, and then there's other people like Rick Adelman that has a show, and he says, man, get the longest mortgage you can, because that's the cheapest money that you can actually borrow. And none of them are, it depends on your personal situation. So when you listen to these shows, make sure you understanding what applies to you. But there's a lot of information. I love Susie Orman. Then you got Jim Cramer, Madman Cramer, who's giving stocks. This is all places. We're not trying to preference or be pushing you to any one particular individual or newsletter or resource, but we're just actually trying to provide you with alternatives.
Okay, another source is just daily business newspapers or websites. That's one of the best ways to keep updated on what's going on, because they are updated during the day. And you can check in during the day. You can actually set up to get alerts. If something large happens, they'll send you an alert and you can read that. But it's a good idea. Look at a couple different sites and find one that you're comfortable with. And just as Bob talked about the different people having different opinions, these newspapers and websites are going to be slanted in a way in which they believe. So make sure you find one that's compatible with your thoughts and the way you think, and realize some of them can be biased. And even if you get some information, you might have to do some more research before you can make any big investment decisions. And there's several out there. There's Yahoo Finance, there's CNN Money, there's USA Today Money, Barron's.com, Morningstar.com. You can get Google alerts. Again, they'll send you updates on a certain subject. If you're interested in a certain stock, or if you're interested in a certain company, you can keep up on information for those. And another source is magazines that you can look at. A little bit about magazines is realize it's typically they're monthly, and that news is old pretty quickly. So that's one that's good for more educational type articles, but it's not going to be good if you're planning on trying to keep up with what's going on, just because of the time delay.
Dude, I want to remind also people about Google Alerts, because Google Alerts, with Google Alerts, you're able to tell Google to send you updates on what's being posted on a certain subject. For example, if you're interested in the current state of the stock market, you can have Google send you a daily summary of the articles, videos, and photos, etc., that were posted regarding that particular information. Another resource is brokerage firms. I mean, there's there's Charles Schwab, there's Vanguard, there's Fidelity, there's T. Rowe Price. All of these people actually have sites that you can go out and get information to be able to keep up on the market, and they provide it as you being a customer or not a customer. They're out there on their sites. Most of them are .com, or you can actually look at a financial advisor, which is never a bad idea to actually go and get information from that particular kind of individual.
There are a lot of podcasts out there that you can listen to. Again, you have to find somebody that you're comfortable with, that thinks along the same lines that you think. And those are real handy if you don't like scrolling down through websites. You can kind of put those on when you're driving or when you're just chilling out, or you have some time to listen. But find somebody you're comfortable with and subscribe to their podcast and keep up on different subjects that way.
Now, I want to give you another one, which is called Personal Network of Like-Minded Investors. Let me tell you what I mean by that. You should have a trusted network of people to share information and ideas with. And there's a book out there called The 5 Most Important People in Your Life. And they said there's a circle. You can create a circle, a network of people that you can actually share information and ideas with. And it doesn't have to be a whole bunch of people, but such as like-minded people when it comes to wanting to make money, but diverse enough to provide different viewpoints. And we just want to make this point. Never listen to a broke person. but think about that, you all.
That's right. Don't take advice from somebody who don't have any money.
I used to have this uncle, man, always telling me how to get rich quick. This must stay broke. How can he help you with anything?
Okay, and these are some apps that, again, we aren't recommending any, but we've looked at them and they're pretty decent just for keeping up on what's going on with financial news. There's CNBC Breaking Business News. There's an app called The Street. Bloomberg has an app. Fox Business has an app. Barron's has an app. There's another app called Market Watch. The Wall Street Journal has an app. The only thing with that, sometimes some of their stuff is for subscribers only. There's another app called Seeking Alpha Portfolio. All of them are available on iPhone and Android. It's just something you should lock into one and try to at least look at it daily just to keep abreast of what's going on.
So there you are. And look, you all, take screenshots of some of these slides that we have, because I know we're going through a lot of information and some people just think I don't remember it. So take screenshots of some of these slides so that you can go out there and check. Because I'm telling you, these apps are absolutely great. And they're available on iPhone and Androids. And it's so easy to do. And I'm talking about they provide so much information. They make it easy for you to get around, to search and put in questions that you have. Any one of these, you just pick one that is, best for you. Next, I just want to talk to you about, remember to keep stock fluctuations in context when you're trying to keep up with the market, right? There's definitely trends and fluctuations in the market, because the stock market can fluctuate in a single day and or week, in a single week, but it doesn't mean that the trend will continue, because stocks, be careful not to make a snap decision on any one day's price fluctuation. That's what I'm trying to get across to you. Don't get feared too much. based on an isolated incident. Some news stories make greater news for one company, and they have biases and for another company. So consider that. And you should, one of the things you should you worry when the stock market takes a dip or rejoice when it sees a small increase? Not always. The stock market can be a good indicator of the overall economy, but it's still pretty volatile. If there is an incredible big crash or rise, then you should probably pay attention. But some stocks will fluctuate wildly depending on the current events, only to rebound once things have quieted down. Context always matter when watching the stock market. So don't panic when the market, things happen, the news, there could be some kind of certain news in the market. It bounces around, and normally a lot of times you just wait a day and it'll turn around and bounce back off of certain news, though.
Yeah, and we've tried to stress to you to think long term, look at long term trends. Sometimes people get so caught up in the short term that they're not paying attention to what's happening over the long haul. It can be scary to see volatility in the short term. And if you make good, solid investments and you keep a long-term focus, that should keep you at ease. It can be downright unnerving for some people when there's a big dip in the market. Continue to look at long-term trends. Remind yourself that over the course of a decade or two, the overall trend is always higher. That can help you stay calm when there is a big drop in the market. I think we told you before that if you look back 100 years over the stock market, the last 100 years, the market's average return has been approximately 10% a year. And that's where your focus should be, as opposed to quick ups and downs. Because we've always stressed that we don't subscribe to the thinking of you're going to buy a stock that's going to go up 1,000 points in a week. Or we're more interested in long-term investing consistently, constantly, with a long-term focus, knowing that in the long term, you're going to be okay. And if you think about not investing money that you may need in the short term, within the next year or two, that's not the money you invest. You invest for the long term, you should be okay.
Though I just want to say out there, hello to our frat brother, Charles Clutch McCargo. And Garnett, our just loyal listener, she said, I have been following Susie Orman for years. She offered good information, but the materials and resources is too expensive. I hear that, Garnett. Though I want to introduce another topic that we should consider when staying on top of the market. And it's like, never stop learning. Consider signing up for at least one or two courses or workshops or online training or webinars each year. Continuous learning and education expands your investment mind and keeps you up to date with emerging markets and trends you need to know about. We're not asking you to go out there and be some specialist or big guru or senior financial advisor, but there, especially with technologies, there is so much information for you to go out there to stay up on the market and what's going on, because there's just so many changes and things that can happen. And it's just good that you are in control of your money. You understand what's going on and the things that affect it. And you'd be surprised once you start staying up and looking at something, you'll start seeing different little trends that you can understand and see how the market works. And it's like I said, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to do this.
Yeah, and another option out there is consider joining an investment group or starting one yourself. I mean, it's a fact that people who are connected are more successful. When you invest in your relationships, professional and personal, it can pay you back in dividends throughout the course of your life. Networking will help you develop and improve your skill set, stay on top of the latest market trends, keep a pulse on the stock market. You might meet prospective mentors, partners, and clients. You might gain access to the necessary resources that will increase your knowledge base. And what that does, I was in an investment club, this was probably 20 years ago. And what it did, it allowed this group, I think it was about 10 people, but you could kind of split up the work if you wanted to look into a particular stock or if you wanted to look into a particular market. You weren't left with trying to do all the exploratory work by yourself. So you could split it up. Okay, you look at this part of it, you look at this company, you look at this trend, and it kind of eases the load as far as how much you have to personally know. And if you don't want to go through the formal act of setting up an investment club, at least get some friends and make it a point to talk about the market, to talk about what's going on in the market, to get their opinion on some of the things you're thinking about. It's like, for example, Bob and I, we kind of see things differently, but we still provide each other with good information. And I know Bob's viewpoint, and so I know how to gauge whether it's important to me, because I know he's much more conservative than I am. But it's good to have that aspect, because sometimes you need someone to look at things from a different direction than the way you see them. So try to expand your personal group of people and make it a point to maybe once a week, once every other week, have a lunch with that person and talk about what's going on in the market. Maybe give them, say, okay, why don't you look at this and I'll look at that, and we come back and we compare the two so we don't have to spend time researching the same things.
And this could be easily done, you all, especially with families, because this is how we in the past used to pass information down, right? Like orators and things like that. You can put together a little family group, once a month or wherever, every other month, and come together and share this kind of information that we've been talking about, all the information that we're talking about. But most people do not keep up, or they feel a little intimidated about the stock market or the markets, period. And it's good to stay on top of things so that you can be able to make the adjustments that can be the difference in making, a great gain or having a catastrophe loss just by you just staying up on top of it. So that's why we wanted to really talk today about, this particular type subject, because, we talked about, conversations to have about money. We've talked about investments and things like that. We talked about how to pick a stock. But this is just getting the information. It is so important, because the bottom line is learning how to stay on top. Go ahead.
Even before you go there, if you think about how much time you put into buying a car, if you research a car, or if you think about buying anything, you might do some research on it. But think about how important your investment or your wealth or the monies that you've accumulated, that's very important. And you need to put the time in to manage that, to stay on top of it, and to come up with ways to make it grow. And the way you do that is through knowledge. And that's some of the resources that we've tried to tell you today. You've got to find a way to get more information about the market. And you do that through the apps we talked about, the newsletters, the TV shows, and other people. But you got to put some effort into keeping up with what's going on. You have to understand how to manage your money.
And we're not talking about a lot of time, y'all. The bottom line here is learning how to stay on top of the stock market might take a little time, but you'll be on your way to tracking and building your wealth when you get the hang of it. Read various investment websites, test out different financial advisors and investment apps, and diversify your portfolio to hedge against risk. Keep your risk tolerance and financial goals in mind, and you'll become a more informed and confident investor. That's all we're trying to get here, y'all. This is very simple, but the responsibility is yours. And we just want you to take control, take charge of your money, your portfolio. Yes, it's good to have an advisor to do who specialize and stay on this every day, but you should also understand the basics of where and what people are doing with your money. So,
okay, Bob, let's summarize what we're talking about. And
okay, yeah, good point here, Dope. Hold on, let me put.
Yeah, the first thing we want you to remember is take the time to stay abreast of your investments. Take the time to stay abreast of what's going on in the market, because that affects your investment. It's time well spent, no pun intended, but it's worth the investment in time to take care of your investments.
So is the takeaway screen up, Dope?
Yep.
Good. So the second one is identify the resource that provides you with the information that meets your needs. Like I said before, there are plenty of resources out there, but look at the one, that, particular kind of speaks to you, and make sure it actually meets your needs.
And knowing and understanding what's going on can calm your fears in turbulent times. It'll keep you from making snap decisions. It'll keep you from making snap judgments that may not be beneficial. It'll keep you from overreacting in the short term. And just knowing what's going on, knowing that whatever is happening is not going to last forever, can kind of put you at ease.
Next, associate yourself with like-minded people regarding investments to enhance your financial knowledge. Now, we're not saying you gotta, have dinner with people and all that. That would be good. But I remember, Dope, at my office during the Chicago Bulls days, and guys were outside talking about Michael Jordan. He scored 40 points, and he was going to be the GOAT and this and all of that. But then when I went inside, walked down the hall, I saw guys standing around a water cooler talking about different stock tips and different things. So I'm like, I'm cool with the basketball guys, but I said, let me start listening to some of what these guys were saying. And next thing I know, I saw they were meeting like almost once a week in the lunchroom, and I started gaining more information about what was going on, or things I didn't even know, especially about these stock letters. I didn't even know that they existed, that people were getting this information from bona fide and qualified people. So associate yourself with like-minded people.
Yeah. And finally, take full responsibility of your financial life. It grants you the power of financial freedom. And that's knowing what's going on, understanding what's going on. And as Bob said, you don't have to be an expert. You don't have to be a financial expert, but you need to understand the basics of what's going on in the market if you're going to manage your money.
Yeah, so though I hope the people get it. What we plan to do is hopefully, if all, the good Lord is willing, we then want to actually take you from this and walk you through how to use this information so that you can learn how to actually, in real life situations, go about researching a stock to be able to pick a stock or, an investment. And but we wanted to give you this base today because there's so much information out there, and all you got to do is just take a little time. We're not talking about taking hours out your day, but I guarantee you, once you start doing this and get the hang of it, the whole financial world will open up to you, and you will start getting a better understanding and better control of your own investments. And that's all we're trying to provide you with here at the FITT Show, is giving you more information, because we know that knowledge is power. Great show, Dope. Once again, we want you to tune in every Thursday at 8 p.m. We here. And please put in the comment box any suggestions of type of shows or topics you'd like for us to cover. And we'd be more than pleased to do that. We just want to just remind you, we're not financial advisors. We're not trying to sell or guide you to any one particular product, newsletter, or show, but we just want to tell you the universe of things that is at your access. We expect you to do the homework and the work to go and get the information that best fits your needs. Is I correct, Dope?
That's for sure. It find what you're comfortable with, but you got to continually learn and continually put time in to stay abreast of what's going on.
So thank you to all the folks out there tuning in. It's been a great another show, Dope. Make sure y'all check in next week. So have a wonderful evening, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Peace be with you.
Peace.